Today, I want to tell you about my first week with the Whoop 3.0. 11.29 miles, 8 minutes, 50 seconds per hour, 144 beats per minute today. But none of that data is actually coming from the Whoop 3.0 because this Whoop 3.0 isn't a GPS watch. It doesn't give you distance and it doesn't give you pace. So what is this thing for? Before I get into that, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a device that I'm purchased with, right? Purchase is not the right word. I'll get into how the paying for it works, but I paid for it with my own money. No one sent it to me. No one's paying me to make this video. No one's gonna get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about this Whoop 3.0 and what this thing is. Now, this thing is basically trying to tell you three things. How hard are you working? How well are you recovering? And how are you feeling today? And it's doing that all with heart rate. Now, the device, it's really kind of basic. There's no screen on it. There's no nothing. It kind of clasps on, and on the back of it, there's a heart rate monitor. And that's all there is. And so you put it on, and it's very discreet. It just looks like a black kind of bracelet, and you're supposed to just wear it all day. The only time I've really taken this thing off is to take a shower. Otherwise, during the day, while I'm sleeping, while I'm running, everything, I've just kind of had it on, much like I would for a GPS running watch. It has a 5-day battery and it charges with like this weird thing. And basically it's like a piggyback battery, and you charge this with micro USB. And then when you need to charge it, you don't even have to take this thing off. You can leave it right on your wrist and charge it like even while you're sleeping. And then you could see the lights lighting up to letting you know that it's charged. And when you're done with charging it, you just take this thing back off. You can put it back on a charger so it's ready to go the next time you're ready for it. But with 5-day battery life, it's not something that you're gonna be doing all the time. So let's go over the data that it's trying to capture or interpret through the way that your heart rate changes throughout the different things that you're doing. So today is Saturday, the day of filming is Saturday, but I think it might help if I go back to Friday and look at Friday's day strain. Now, day strain is something that it gives you as a measurement. It basically tracks your heart rate throughout the day and sees what it's doing. It also knows when you've done some sort of activity. So I don't tell it. I mean, I think you can tell it like when you're about to go for a run, but you don't have to tell it. It kind of figures out when you've gone for a run and when you've stopped running, and it measures your heart rate during that activity. And also on this particular Friday, it also picked up about 20 minutes that I spent outside with the girls during the girls' virtual school recess playing fetch with the dog. And because my heart rate was elevated, I was running around, I was chasing the dogs around, the dogs were chasing me, we were throwing stuff. My heart rate was elevated enough that I thought it was an activity. So it counted it as a second activity for the day because my heart rate was, according to this thing, elevated for about 20 minutes. And it compiles everything else that I'm doing, my hours awake, what my heart rate does throughout the day to give me a daily strain number. And on that day, it gave me a 16.3. Then I went to bed, and it tracks me with the heart rate throughout the evening, and from that it's able to get all the kind of advanced like sleep metrics that I'm looking for. I mean, it could figure out when I've fallen asleep, when I woke up, if there's been interruptions, but it can also figure out things like deep sleep versus REM sleep. It can also tell me things like my respiration rate and my heart rate while I was sleeping, which are also other important numbers to look at in terms of not just how long are you sleeping, but how good is your sleep. And even if you don't really understand those numbers, what it'll do is it'll figure out based on your day strain from the night before, how many hours of sleep you needed. For me, it told me I did not get, I think it said I needed almost 10 hours of sleep, which the only time I get 10 hours of sleep is when I'm sick, but it told me that I needed almost 10 hours of sleep, but I only got like less than 6. So it gave me a low in terms of the rating. Then combining like your sleep performance with your day strain from the day before, it tells you what percentage recovered are you, and so how ready are you to tackle the next day. So that's kind of like the third element and the third question that it's trying to answer. And it figures out like how recovered you are based on heart rate variability. Now, heart rate variability is a number that kind of gives you an indication for like how well are you doing in terms of your overall health. When the heart rate variability is really low, it means that your body's under a little bit more stress. It's straining hard, kind of like making an effort to kind of like keep up with your day-to-day activities. When the heart rate variability varies quite a bit, it seems counterintuitive to me, but when the heart rate variability is high, that means that your body is like pretty chill and relaxed and is ready to take on whatever you're going to throw at it. It also gives you your resting heart rate and like measures that throughout the course of the day, and also takes a look at your respiration rate as well. And so those are numbers that it keeps track of for you, so that you know like are my respiration rates higher than normal? Because if you're breathing heavier than you normally are, even like at rest, that could be an indication that you're either not recovered, maybe you've got a cold coming on, maybe you're just feeling run down, and you need to take a little bit better care of yourself. So those are some of the kinds of information that it gives you. And so this is really fascinating type of data, and it's amazing to me that it could do all this just from like the heart rate, but it's not really something that you're supposed to be looking at for like real-time data. Like, yeah, it can tell you what like your heart rate is like right now, but you're really supposed to have it on for longer periods of time, so it understands what your body normally does and can detect changes for you. Now, one of the things that I ran into in this is that if you're not getting a really solid heart rate reading, then like the rest of the entire system kind of doesn't really work. And for me, for the most part, I felt like the heart rate was pretty accurate. The resting heart rate that it gave me was pretty consistent with what I think my resting heart rate is. The sleeping heart rate is about what I normally see for sleeping heart rate. So the numbers kind of like seemed right or consistent with what I've seen in other devices and a variety of other devices that are all trying to measure kind of like similar things in terms of just the bare metrics. The one area where I thought it might do better, but it actually still struggled. It did do a little bit better, but it still struggled, was actually giving me a good heart rate reading during a run. Now, I've talked to you guys about wrist-based heart rate monitors. No matter which brand, no matter which sensor, no matter how good, no matter how cheap, I just can't rely on a wrist-based heart rate monitor to give me an accurate reading while I'm running. There's just something about like my bone structure or something, it just doesn't work. And that's where like chest straps come in handy or armbands come in handy in terms of like external heart rate monitors. Now with Whoop, you can buy another accessory. It's another $30 where it's a much longer strap, so it could fit it around your bicep, which I feel like the bicep's kind of an awkward place. I have a armband heart rate monitor that I like to run with in the wintertime that goes around my forearm. That's kind of a position that I like. This is adjustable quite a bit, but I can't get it. I can get it to come up to like here. I can't get it to a more comfortable position, which is like just below like the bend in my elbow. So I might have to get that other larger strap just so that I can make sure that I'm getting an accurate reading of my heart rate during the runs. Now, in terms of paying for this, it's a little bit unusual. It's a subscription, which normally when I hear subscription, my eyes start to roll a little bit. But for this, it kind of makes sense because the device itself is pretty straightforward. You're buying a heart rate monitor. And so basically, they give this away to you for free. You don't have to pay for it, but you do have to commit to, I think, 6 months of the subscription service, which what the subscription service is doing is taking that heart rate data, analyzing it for you, comparing it to your previous or historical data, and then giving you like recommendations, giving you valuations of like, all right, these are your numbers. What do they mean? It's giving you something that you can make some decisions off of. So I actually kind of really like that. So like the data ecosystem that they're building is what they're basing the subscription on, not like the thing that you're wearing. And so it's actually a subscription model that I think makes a bunch of sense. And if you think about it, for the 6 months of subscription that you have to kind of sign up for at the beginning, you end up paying $180 for what is a pretty good heart rate monitor. I still have some issues with it, so I'm going to have to pay like $210 to get that other longer strap so that I could put it in an alternate position. But if it's going to give me the kind of data that it says it can give me, then I think it could be worth it. But in the coming weeks and months, we'll have to see if it's worth having this as a standalone device when I already have another GPS running watch that can tell me a lot of the same types of things, or at least they each say they can tell me the same types of things. So we'll put that to the test as well. Hit the subscribe button so you can see that video when it comes out. That's all I have to say so far after my first week with the Whoop. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below, or better yet, feel free to stop by. I do a live stream every day, 3 p.m. Central Time here on YouTube. You can always feel free to ask me a question there. Hopefully I'll see you there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?